At least talk, baby. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. Weird one tonight, buddy. It's a laugher through the first two periods, and I actually trolled Oilers fans, and I sat there for the entire third with sweaty palms, thinking that this one was going to be on me.
What'd you say?
I just said, people take the Oilers seriously, huh?
Oh, but I don't see my friends' tweets. I don't see one tweet of yours ever.
Yeah.
Like, I know your tweets don't come up in my thing, so I don't see what you say. So I guess I get
I mean, it's an algorithm for whose tweets you like and read and enjoy.
How do you like someone's tweets if they're not in your feed?
Yeah,
it's a chicken and the egg situation.
No,
here,
it's fine. Man. I know where I stand with you. Like I see all your tweets. I see all your tweets. Actually, I usually stay off one. I usually stay off during the games. You know that, but yeah, I fired that one and I went, right. Of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-goal lead is not enough. Start taking Dumbo penalties in the third and then lose their goaltender. Where do you want to start? The good or the bad?
I think you got to start with the good. I think the third period was a classic score event situation where one team is asleep and one team's trying hard, and then their buttholes clench and it's too late. I think it got away from them there, where they just, they're up 5-0. It's happening quite easily. That was it. Hyman that scored the first one.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, we're doing the bad then first.
That trickles in, and it feels like I thought the Leafs played the first two periods were as well as they've played all year. I thought they were committed. I thought they played hard. Thought they were unbelievably good, and they were a product of that good play in the third period. So I take more positives from this one than I do in the negatives. Obviously,
absolutely you do.
But I think by far the biggest negative is clearly your goaltender's hurt. But I don't know where you want to go.
Well, yeah. Well, I think you just kind of hit it with the end. Like, we don't need to spend too much time on the end. I will just say this. They're a shorthanded team, so I'll give them some credit for the fact that they're missing like two of their penalty killers, right? And Yarncroc and Mitch Marner. And they're playing a bunch of guys up the lineup that probably don't play that many minutes, at least to start a period when you're protecting a lead. So some of it I'm like, oh yeah, okay, you can excuse a little bit. Part of it I do think is still some of the team's DNA. I won't lie. Is just the switch when they go to sleep like hard. They're you basically. They're not me, where it takes an hour and a half to actually fall asleep and wind down. They're you, where it's like they head to the couch, they put their head on the pillow, and boom, they're done. So like within 13 seconds, just ice cold for the entire night until it's time for TikToks in the morning. It's
okay. I'm listening. Yes.
I think that they have a tendency to do that. And then when they get in tight like this, that DNA, I do think also the tightening up gets pretty severe with them. I was pretty nervous.
I think the penalty kill is clearly an issue. And that's what it came down to tonight, right? They scored 2 power play goals in the third period. They didn't score an even strength goal tonight against the Leafs. They had the 6-on-5 and the 2 power play ones.
Yeah, they're a power play merchant team all the way through.
Absolutely. Like that really is when they had their most threats, is when they had a power play and they were up 6-on-5. Like that 6-on-5 is what horrors are made of. And if Nugent Hopkins shoots that in the net instead of right off the post, we still may be playing right now. So I do think that if there's one negative and it continues to be one, it's definitely the penalty kill. Like, it's a clear issue.
You don't buy the butt pucker thing with them a little bit more than other teams.
I really think there's a weird
against Carolina. Like I think that this is part of who they are. I got to say, like I do think they feel it. And part of the reason
I'm saying it, like how many teams, like, listen, there's clear, like I'd be sitting here being an idiot arguing that the Leafs have had some bad moments where their butts puckered. Okay. Like that would be a stupid thing to argue against. But in this game, it's just, to me, like how many teams that they're 6-on-5 with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the ice, it's not going to look like that. Like, it's just, they played the whole third period. Those guys are two of the best guys in the league. Like, that's what a lot of Oiler games look like in a third period to me.
Yeah.
Like if they're down and they're chasing it, I felt like McDavid played 11 minutes in that third period. He was on the ice the whole time, and he's really damn good. And they managed to not blow a 5-goal lead, which is what an accomplishment. I know it's not like right home about it.
Weird praise. You're like, they're doing good. But to me, I think that there is a part of them that tightens up worse than the average team. I do think that there's an energy with them that has been there, frankly, since the very beginning, and it's gone up and down. But when the world feels like it's fallen on them, I feel like they can kind of compound it at times. And good on Max Domi, because again, I think that he felt it. and he had that scrap basically going, "Hey, everybody, like wake up."
I don't want to play defensive hockey to the last 3 minutes, the last 7 minutes of this period. That's it. Honestly, Sheldon Keefe was like, yes, great fight. I don't have to put him on the ice. Like, honestly, like, I think that was part of it. And God love Domi, just chucking 100 misses.
Oh yeah.
They look great though. Big fat misses, the arm coming all the way back. Just no reason for this fight. I think he slashed him a little bit in the offensive zone. He's like, no defensive hockey in a big game. I'm good.
Not my fault. Not my fault. Wasn't there. Okay, so the positives. I agree with you about the first two periods. Man, this is a shorthanded team, and they came out and they had a penalty kill, right? The very beginning of the game starts, and you go, oh my God, you're shorthanded. And like,
sure, by McDavid too. Holy hell. Like,
thought it was dive?
Oh yeah, he went flying. Like, watch. He tripped him. It's a clear penalty. But look at, oh my God, that's a 10.
He
off
throws
the diving board, throws up the feet. Like, look at.
I was gonna say that's kind of a little bit of the worm there, maybe, but I don't know. It's a
penalty. 100% a penalty. Look at that. That's a dive. That is 100% a dive. But hey, I would have called. Hey, if I'm reffy, 100% call penalty. Trip. Best player on in the world has a puck in his stick, and the guy puts his stick in the leg. He's gonna get that call, but it was a dive. It's fine.
I just felt like good on the Leafs tonight. We criticize them sometimes for not starting on time, and the penalty kill was sharp to start. Edmondson's out there clearing the front of the net, getting into it with guys, blocking shots. Leafs kill a power play, and I thought that they played with just way more energy and way more force than the Oilers for basically two periods.
I think the Leafs knew what the narrative going into this game with Hyman coming in here and all of them talking about Hyman and them wanting to get the 50. And you saw Willie say something like that's basically the Messier guarantee from Willie. That's the first interesting.
I mean, he's joking around, but
I know, but it's like the first interesting thing he's ever said in a scrum. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is that? He might as well have said, we're going to guarantee we're going to win tonight. He might as well have said that.
I really did think there at the end when after Hyman scored the first and then it was 5-3. I was like, oh my God, he's going to score two of these and this is going to be the most embarrassing night. But yeah, go on.
I really did think that the Leafs took that to heart, and it felt to me that this mattered to them, and they just played way harder than the Oilers.
Yeah.
Like the Oilers they made so many mistakes off of the Leafs just pursuing them, playing harder, skating faster. Like Darnell Nurse, I don't know, like that, he makes $9.5 million or $9.25 million. I don't know how many mistakes he made tonight where he's just falling asleep. Listen, I thought that the Leafs played harder. I thought the Oilers had a bad night for the first two periods, but the Leafs went out and took it from them. They made them look stupid. It was as good as they can play, and it was close to as bad as the Oilers can play, I think. So it was a recipe for disaster.
So I Bill Simmons does the worst contracts in basketball every year.
Yeah.
I don't think there would be who would even be close to Darnell Nurse in hockey.
You're putting me on the spot here. Let me think.
I know, but you don't have to answer. I'm just saying he would clearly be in the conversation amongst.
He's a top fiver for sure. He's a top fiver for sure.
To be making that much money, and basically you never feel like outside of him doing the tough guy routine, which he does well. I wouldn't want to eat a cross check.
I think he's tough. I think he's really tough.
Great. I think he's tough, and I would never want to eat the lumber from Darnell Nurse. But outside of that, I'm like, what's the game? And on that team where they're so capped out and they could use so much so desperately, the fact that he's eating that much cap space, it makes it even worse. I thought, dude, one of the biggest things in this game, listen, credit to the Leafs. Again, they're shorthanded, and a couple guys that start the year as AHL guys come up with 4 goals against the Edmonton Oilers. That's awesome. But I had 2 thoughts. My biggest 2 thoughts on this game outside of Samsonov that we'll get to were, the Oilers are just kind of a brain-dead team that give up horrific chances in transition, and they've got basically no material defense, and their goaltending is going to be shaky no matter what. You're just not going to get a goalie for that team that you feel like is going to be a stud. I know Skinner has his moments, and there's always 2 weeks at a time where he tricks us, where he starts putting it together, and you go, I think this guy's going to be really, really good, and then push comes to shove, he kind of lets in some softies, or you feel like he has nights where he doesn't make saves. And of course they could make a run because they have McDavid and Draisaitl in that power play, and they can feel like the world is on top of you when they're pressing the way that they did at the end of that third period. But to me, it's just if people want to say the Leafs can't win a Stanley Cup because of the way that they defend, You're telling me that Edmonton team is a cup contender? Like, no way, no way, no way.
Yeah, I think the reason people say they're a cup contender is because they have the best guy on earth, and they're pretty good and they've had a good year. But I think your point's well made. Like, if you're saying that the Leafs can't win the cup, then you should be saying the same thing about the Oilers. Or if you're saying that the Oilers can win the cup, you should say that the Leafs should win the cup, because they're very.
That's it. You can't have one of the. You can't have one and the other. They have to.
They're very similar teams. Yeah. Like really, really similar teams. Unbelievable high end talent, with the Oilers probably having the high end talent. We can sit here and debate, but it's pretty clear that they have the best guy. So therefore, they have the edge there. With shaky defense, and you have no idea what you're going to get from your goaltending. It's scarily.
Leafs don't have that though.
Well, sometimes they do, bud. We went through a bit of a crisis this year.
Leafs
they have.
Yeah, sure, maybe earlier, but now Leafs are, I would say, one of the most envious goaltending positions in all of hockey. Like, they got Joe Woll and hopefully Ilya Samsonov, but no, Leafs goaltending compared to the Oilers is night and day. They just brought in Calvin Pickard, bud. Like, are you kidding?
And the Leafs brought in Martin Jones.
yeah, as their third guy. That would be the Oilers number 2. That's what I'm saying. No. I'm not having that. That's garbage.
Oilers, what?
The goaltending
what's so wrong?
The goaltending discrepancy is night and day between these two teams. Not close. Like, not even in the same stratosphere. Leafs got 2 guys better than the Oilers' best guy. Like, flat out, not close.
Okay, that's good. We agree. All good.
But yeah, so
bent to the shape.
No, not bent out of shape. We're just saying, like, that's crazy to be like that. Those 2 guys are going to be touching the Leafs 2 guys. Pickard having a good year. Don't care. He's Calvin Pickard. If he's in a playoff game, I'm in a full nightmare zone. If I'm an Oilers fan, you can't trust that at all. That's like a couple of years ago when the Oilers had the Flames had our guy that we picked up at the deadline that year, who was having the incredible season. Riddick. That's it. Chronicles of Riddick. And they were like, oh man, it's a great backup. Goes in during big moments and gets absolutely
It was traded a 3rd round pick for him.
Yeah. Not great. Anyways,
I don't even know how many. Did he play 4 games? Like, that's got to be the worst asset management of all time. Like, I don't know if he played 4 games. So
yeah, I don't know if he did, because Campbell was so hot that it was like that's like chat. The chat isn't even offering other nominations in the Darnell Nurse bad contract draft.
Ryan Graves signed an awful one this year with in the offseason this year against Dubas, but it's really bad. But it's a really bad contract, and same with Tristan Jarry. So those are 2 really bad ones too.
So, like you said, I think that the Leafs played harder, but I also just thought a lot of this game was about Edmonton making
Riddick 4 games, 887 for the Leafs for a 3rd round pick. Woof.
Yeah, not great. They had to do it because they needed another goaltender, but yeah, not great that was what they ended up getting from it. I thought that the defensive zone breakdowns, the transition breakdowns, the brain farts from Edmonton were so egregious in this game. Like Adam Henrique not touching up for an offside when it's right there and giving up a transition, like bad one. Austin Matthews beating somebody to a corner. I think it was Evan Bouchard, where he makes a beautiful pass. That's 2 games in a row, by the way, for Austin Matthews when it comes to making beautiful passes. Maybe he can do it. Did you
hear Borny on the show on Friday? The stats that he had about the passes to the slot since Marner's been gone. He's like his numbers, I forget them. I'd have to go back and listen to them, but he is like amongst the elite in the league with passes to the slot since Marner's been gone. And he was like, it's like 2 more per game than he's ever done.
But that makes sense.
No, but he's actually facilitating. He's passing more. He's like, there's a ton of metrics that say he's passing way more now that he has the puck more. So he's playing a more traditional center role as opposed to having the guy in his wing. But like, it's pretty eye opening to me how much better of a passer he's been without Marner around. So maybe that can continue when Marner comes back.
Well, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Like, it's the composition of what he ends up with on his line and the role that he's asked to play. Like, I don't think anyone would argue that it's better off without Mitch. But I will say this is, like, the Domi Matthews chemistry continued again tonight. And I really do wonder what Keefe is thinking. Like, I'd love to get the truth serum from him. Like, hey, if there wasn't any politics in the room, if Matthews and Marner didn't have so much weight, would you give it a shot? Like, what would you like to do if no one was going to bitch and it was not going to be an issue whatsoever with who played where?
What would I like to do? Or if like
No, I'm saying I'd be fascinated to hear what Sheldon Keefe would say about it. He'd probably say, yeah, I'd still go back to Marner Matthews, but I do wonder if this Domi stretch has opened his eyes a little bit to being like, maybe I will tinker a little bit when Mitch comes back.
Yeah, I think, he is who he is. And I think it would come down to him still getting nervous about them in a playoff series defensively. And I don't think he would accept the warts with him throughout a full playoff series. But to me, this is something that you can go to in a game where you need it. Like even if he's not starting with those guys, but you're down a goal in the third period and you have Marner out there and you want to put Domi there and you put him up there for a little bit of an offensive jolt and you don't have to break up Nylander and whoever he's playing with. To me, it's just like it's a clear option that absolutely works in the offensive zone. Like those two guys are in sync again. And that goal, the one he passed to Domi and then he just reverses it against the grain right to Holmberg. I mean, that is a gorgeous play. And that's what it comes down to, man. Max just makes plays in the offensive zone. Like when you don't think he's going to be able to, he does, and he just looks great. And, he gets on the top power play unit tonight. Did they get 2 power plays tonight or 1? They got 2, right? They scored 1 power. They scored a power play goal on their first one, and then I think they only had 2. But to me, they put Domi out there, and it's the best it's looked in weeks. Like it's just a guy on the half wall that can pass. It's a more natural fit for a power play, and it just looks really good. So Domi, man.
Yeah, like he ripped the shot on that power play right before the goal, and it was a good look. He was aggressive with
the post, I think.
I just love how Domi's patience really shows up when he gets to play with top end talent, right?
Yep.
Like we criticize him all the time we criticize him all the time all season for not shooting enough, right? It's always like, hey, he's passing too much. It's like when he's playing with top tier guys, ends up looking a lot better.
It's like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
When he's passing it to David Camp, who beats it to a square, you're like, oh, okay. That was a bad pass, Max. Passes it to Austin Matthews. It's like, wow, what a
dude, if he could play in the D zone at all, he'd be making a ton of money.
Oh yeah, he'd be $8 million a year, 100%.
Yeah. He'd be pricing himself out for the Leafs. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Yeah. By the way, that I still didn't see how, like, obviously it's a nice tip by Nylander on that goal, the power play, good feed from Liljegren, kind of like the shot pass, not really looking to shoot, but it goes off his skate, right?
It's his stick and then his skate.
Yeah.
Watch.
Okay. So
there's a good angle here if you're watching. Watch. It hits his great tip and then it gets a good bounce off his skate. So
really beautiful. Great tip. Really nice tip. So last positive for me is just that pretty pass by John Tavares in this game, like to feed Bobby McMahon. Bobby McMahon gets 2 goals in this game. Again, another one on transition. I just love this one. This is just a Bobby McMahon. Good for you. In honor of March Madness, it's just a big man going to the paint and just finishing strong. Like,
can we roll that again? Watch Darnell Nurse on this play. Watch 25 and white. If you're watching on Sportsnet Plus or YouTube, watch this. He's still not in the frame. Can we get the wide view again? Yeah, it's tough now. But he honestly is coasting back. He's a defenseman. Like, where is he on this play? He's out to lunch. Look where he's coming in. Yeah. He's got his hands on his knees. It's unbelievable. Anyways, not to pick on him, but God, that was an awful play by him.
No, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But yeah, it's sharp play by Tavares. Nice finish by McMahon.
Tavares has got the jump again. Yeah. Tavares has got the jump again. He looks like he's feeling rested. He's spry. I mean, I don't know what the amount is, but in his last 5 games, he's got a lot of points. I don't know what it would be off the top of my head.
I think it's 10 points in his last 5 games.
Really? It's that high? It feels like that, but that's a good stretch for him. That's how he always kind of gets up to close point per game, because he does go into the dips. He goes into the depths where we're talking about if he's done or if he's washed up. We have these conversations, and then he gets hot and he brings his point total up. I think the depths are a little lower than they used to be, and the highs aren't quite as high as they used to be, but like he's still 10 points in 4 games there.
4 games. Yeah. So sorry. It's 4.
It feels really like he's been really, really good. So, so you're done on positives? Can I give you a positive for you?
Yeah, for sure. I just, on the Tavares point that you make, I just think that the confidence in which he makes some of the plays right now is like very obvious. Even on some of the just like zone entries and the pass that they even make in transition right before Nylander sets it up for McMahon's second goal. He's just, you can see that there's just an energy to him right now,
Yep.
like he's playing well. He looks, this sounds stupid to say, but like he looks excited when he has the puck. He doesn't look lost. So pretty huge development for the Leafs down the stretch here, continues to be. And yeah, now they've had basically a bunch of different looks with Tavares. Like it hasn't just been one line combination for him that's worked. It's been a bunch of different guys in his orbit, and it's been working with every single one of them. So yeah, no, good for him. What's your other positive?
Well, I like this line. Nylander, McMahon, and Tavares are good tonight. Edmundson is just, it was a good Edmonton night tonight.
Great Edmonton.
I know that the penalty kill wasn't great, and he's on that. It's a work in progress. It is what it is. But man, this guys hate him, eh? Like they hate him. And I love that. Like anytime he's around any star, he is whacking them. Like he hammered Draisaitl multiple times with cross checks, hammered McDavid into the corner there. If you just saw, like, this guy is going to hurt somebody in a playoff series, and it's going to be like, he is going to put a hurting on somebody. I don't know if they're going to be out of the game or it's just, he leans on guys, and the Leafs haven't had a defenseman that does it like this. Like Shen clearly was tough or whatever, and like he was a guy that, good positionally, but Edmundson just feels like he's just dirty. Like he definitely feels like he's a greasy dude, and he's going to do something greasy and get away with it. That's what he feels like to me. I loved his game tonight. Solid.
He just did everything as advertised tonight.
Yeah.
Like his block shots, clear the net, play nasty, get in other guys' faces. I love how like all those cross checks, like he was feeding them to Leon. He was feeding Leon all night. And then like the best part of the game was that he got Leon Draisaitl off the ice during a penalty kill, which was great. It's kind of what you want. Put both guys in the box. No, I totally agree with you. I thought he was great tonight. Really 22-53.
God, I guess he was on the ice with 6-on-5 at the end a lot, but like they're leaning on him. And I think I got to give credit where it's due. And he's part of this, I think. And the bet that Tree made, that having the pressure of the trade deadline off of Liljegren, he's been pretty good, man. He's been pretty good. And I thought he was confident again tonight. Clearly still had a couple moments with the puck where you're like, but he just looks so much more decisive and so much more confident since the trade deadline. This is something they talked about where they're like, every other year we've replaced him, and this year we're not going to do that basically. So Edmundson probably has something to do with him. He's been playing with him a little bit. I liked Liljegren's game again tonight, so got to give him credit because I ragged on him a lot this year. So when he plays well, I got to give it credit.
Yeah, he was solid. Great breakout pass when it was that the Nylander play.
And the read that he makes, he makes on the first goal where he dives down and pokes it down to Tavares, who makes a great play to Bobby McMahon. So I like giving him credit because I was hard on him, and he was solid again. So good on him.
The thing is that he's very much like, if you want to talk about guys with high highs and low lows like Tavares, like this is kind of the MO of Liljegren. To me,
but I don't think he's been like really great. I just think he's been solid since the trade deadline. Like better since the trade deadline.
No, he's been. I think he's been really good since the trade deadline. Just to me, it's like it's all going to come down for Liljegren this year in the playoffs, because if you scratch him a third straight year, and I don't know what that's supposed to say about how you're ever going to feel about his future, regardless of his age. Okay, last thing, Samsonov gets hurt at the very end of the game. Kind of a awkward play. He's going across, but nothing like
overslid a bit.
Yeah, overslides a bit, but doesn't look completely out of the ordinary. And I hate saying this, but you and I wonder right away if he's faking it, because sometimes he's been a bit of an embellisher with injuries. He had a stinger earlier in the game too, right? Like that one puck went up high and got him. But yeah, if they lose him, that's crushing, because I actually, this is a pure eye test thing. I actually thought tonight he looked more like as confident as I've seen him in a really long time. He was brilliant tonight. Really, really, really good. And okay, good. It looks like he'll be fine, according to Keefe. So that's great news.
Okay.
Faker.
So not Faker. Dude, this guy left practice a week ago. It looked like his career was over. And then he's like, he's starting tonight. It's like this one, he's gonna be fine.
No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm
surprised he's gonna be fine.
But here's the thing. I'm guessing that he probably pulled his groin a little bit. And then when he was trying to get up and he was feeling it, he's like, man, we're going to lose this hockey game if I have to make a lateral. Like, we're one goal away. I got to get out of the net. That's my assumption here. Like, I know I'm joking about the faker thing, but that's got to be what ends up happening here. He doesn't feel 100%. He knows that his team needs a healthy goalie in it, and he gets out.
I thought them starting him tonight was yet another statement in this goalie duo. Because I thought Wall was good enough against the Caps when they won on Wednesday night.
Yep.
And I thought he was good enough, and he won that game, and thought they'd go back to him tonight. And they started Sammy, and to me, that's a statement. They started him the Saturday night game on Hockey Night in Canada against the marquee matchup to give Wall the scheduled loss tomorrow against the Carolina Hurricanes in the second half of back-to-back. So, that's a beautiful windmill save. That is, I don't even know where that puck is going, but I
think it's going to end up going high. It was some of the other ones, though, man, that he was making tonight. It's just like, it felt like that. Even there, it's like there's no rebounds. He was reading the play well. He was calm. He wasn't like sliding too far. That's actually kind of funny about the injury play, is that it's like the one time that he seemingly overslid a little bit, but he's just at the top of his crease playing so confident. Pucks are dying out there, stretching across, making good pad saves, good glove saves. Just really good game from him. I got to admit, I keep expecting it to sort of like fall apart. There's been a couple of games here where, he's allowed 4 goals, and none of them have been really horrible backbreaker ones, but it's been enough where you're like, oh, okay, he's probably going to pumpkin back. They're going to put him in a big spot against Edmonton, down a bunch of players. And this reeks of, he lets in a couple of tough goals and the Leafs are chasing it. And no, it was the complete opposite tonight. So I know you always say the thing about how you can't believe it's the same guy. For me, I think it's more like, I can't believe he doesn't have a stinker game. Like, I can't believe he hasn't had one real stinker of a game,
No, he's let in 4 goals in 2 starts before this, but it wasn't like he was awful.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's just, he doesn't, he had exclusively stinkers for a month
of stinkers that somehow were winners.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I absolutely don't get it. And the last thing I'll say, there's few things as guaranteed as Corey Perry scoring against the Leafs like that. Why didn't we bet our life savings on that? That's just the stupid. I bet you that was plus 500 too. Like, really dumb not to bet so much money on that, because that is a guarantee. He came here early in the year with the crappy Hawks. He scored on a breakaway. He gets in here, just buries one. Of course he does. It's just, it always happens. Always. There's few things as sure as this.
I think Corey Perry, to me, is like, when we go back through the list of times the Leafs could have gotten him.
Yeah.
And the fact that this guy never wore the blue and white is insane.
Fine by me.
All he ever wanted was to play for Leafs, so it kills him every time. So
fine by me.
He lives to kill the Leafs for just the complete. Joe Thornton, 40 years old. They were like, we'd rather have Wayne Simmons.
No, it was
done.
Simmons. It was Simmons had a moment at the start, and then he broke his hand. He was never the same. But he was good, man. He was playing the top line when he first got here. He was. He's killing it on the power play, and then he broke his hand.
Yeah. You know what happens to old guys?
They get old.
Yeah, fast. Anyway, but except for Corey Perry, who keeps doing the damn thing, who keeps playing fourth line hockey incredibly well. Guys, just I think he's still one of the most underrated guys ever. Love his game, and really wish the Leafs would have grabbed him. All right, anything else for you? I'm done.
All good, Bubba.
All right, let's go watch the end of March Madness. Subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars, hit the thumbs up on YouTube, follow on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sam McKee, and we'll see you tomorrow against the Carolina Hurricanes, early one, 6 o'clock.